Hello, hello, hello. It's Whitney.
And it's your girl Alicia.
And this is the Luxe Hour Podcast.
Join us weekly as we encourage Black women to elevate into luxury.
All right, hold on. Okay. Nice. Okay, there we go. All right, wine of the week. We have not been here in a while.
We haven't.
It's been a long time. Well, it's good to see y'all again. Thank you for coming back. We are going to kick this off with the wine of the week. So
Yes.
every episode, we start us off with a brand new wine selection. So we are coming with the reds this week. So Alicia, if you could hand me the bottle, please.
Absolutely, darling.
All right. Oh, so we have today Stella Rosa Red. So we've tried the black on here before.
We have.
And then we tried
Stella Berry.
Berry. Okay, so we
Berry.
tried black and berry. So we also the red. So if you're not familiar with the Stella Rosa brand, there is like a million flavors. Like blueberry, peach, watermelon, red, Moscato d'Asti. Like they have a ton of them. So this is the red. This is a semi-sweet. It's got, it's a 90-point tasting winner. So let's see.
Hey.
Grapes for our delicious Stella Rosa Red are harvested from beautiful vineyards. This refreshing wine reveals deep red color and is combined with natural flavors of ripe raspberry, wild strawberry, and red plum. Stella Rosa Red is a seductive, rich, and full-bodied with a hint of sweetness. Served chilled with fresh fruit, cheese, spicy cuisine, and desserts. Celebrate life with friends and a bottle of Stella Rosa Red. Okay, we in it. And come on, twist top, so we don't need a corkscrew.
Listen.
We need upper body strength that I don't have.
And we just need skill, which I don't have.
My hand is wet from holding this, so
Okay.
can you see? That's why I can't
Absolutely.
open this, because my hand is wet.
Well, I think I can. Very good.
All right.
Okay.
All right, without further ado, let's get right to it. So that's gonna be it. Swap me out. Thank you. So I can already tell that this one is carbonated. So it has the bubbly. It has the bubbly kind of fizz to it, like you would get from soda. The Stella Black has that too. So I'm interested to see how different it tastes from the black.
Same. I don't think I tasted the red.
I have. It smells exactly like Stella. If you selling us the same wine in 2 different bottles, we about to call you out. I'm gonna test it because it smells like
It
it.
smells the same.
Very sweet. It smells very, very, very sweet. I smell every single bit of those berries that they talked about. Now, Stella, since this is the same wine, this is the same one, girl. You not try it, see.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm gonna let Alicia see it, but I think it's Stella Black in a different bottle.
It's so similar that if there is a difference, it's like maybe you taste you know what, actually I do the aftertaste. I feel a heavier note of those berries,
Do you?
but it's the same.
Let me take
It's
a
pretty
bigger
much the
sip.
same.
Let me see.
I took a couple of gulps, so. But it's in the aftertaste that's the only time when I taste the difference. But it's the same.
It might have a bit of a more bitter note. It might. All right, Stella.
It's the same, guys.
So we'll put it this way: if you like Stella Black, you'll like Stella Red. If you like the black, you'll like the red. So that's that.
Basically, that's so interesting, though. I was expecting something different.
Yeah.
So I'm disappointed.
The good news is,
But I love Stella Black, so I guess we're not completely disappointed.
yeah. Well, and the good news is, if you are like looking for Stella Black and you go somewhere and they don't have it, but they have the red, it's a clean substitute.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can for sure switch it out, and you probably won't even notice. For sure.
Correct. That's true. That's true. Okay, well I guess that's that.
That's that.
And guys, it is that time. It is time for our treat of the week. Treat of the week. Treat. Okay, so what was your treat of the week, honey?
What was my treat of the week? You know what? So to be fair, we haven't recorded in a couple of weeks. So I'm going to use the last purchase that I made that was luxury. I actually did my Christmas shopping. So I got all of my Christmas shopping out of the way for my family. And everybody got something with a brand name on it, something with a designer on it. So it was a good Christmas in the Thompson Roseman May household. But that was it. I mean, I don't want to tell everything, but I bought some fragrances, I bought some jewelry, I bought some clothing pieces, I bought a bag.
Yes.
So yeah, a good little mix of stuff. That was my treat of the week. Again, it was for somebody else though, but
I was going to say this is the second time in a row.
Yeah, but
it's
like holiday season, and we have birthday presents come in, like.
Yeah.
But I am about to start treating myself now that I have all this out of the way. So I really want to get a new bed. Not the actual bed
mattress
frame. Yeah, I want a new mattress, but I want one with like the adjustable base. Like I really want like a nice bed, like a Sleep Number or like a Tempur-Pedic, like something that vibrates and heat up and all that good stuff. So that's gonna be my next luxury purchase. Probably won't be next week, but very soon. Hopefully before the end of the year.
When I say literally, I love that for you and I can see that for you. And the reason why I say that too, it's important to highlight, is because literally your home,
that's it for me.
What Whitney's home means to her. Literally that is her safe place, her safe space, that's her haven, her safe haven. That is literally her end and beginning.
It is. I love my house. My house is my favorite form of luxury. I'm actually looking now at like upsizing my house. So I want more space. Like if there's anywhere that I will spend money, it's on a comfortable living space. And I think that should be true for everybody. Like no matter, and it doesn't have to be luxury in terms of like brand name things or expensive furniture, but just luxury in terms of creating a clubhouse for yourself. It's like when we were kids and we used to make clubhouses, you know? Like your house is like your one little corner on this earth where you can make it 100% suited to be a therapeutic, safe, comfortable space for yourself. And I think if you can do that, you by all means should. And that's what I try to do. So yes, that's my luxury for sure.
Yeah, and I think it plays such a major role in your mental health that we don't even realize it. If you come into a space that literally you adore, you can't wait to get into your bed, you can't wait to, I've been having a rough day, my neck has a little tension in it, I'm about to wait, I can't wait till I get home and, turn up my Tempur-Pedic, and give me a little bit more stability. Like,
that sounds so old. Let me turn up, I can't wait to get home and turn up my Tempur-Pedic.
Well, we'll liven it up, get a glass of wine and light some of your favorite candles in your home. Like that entire aesthetic, like that sets the tone for your day.
And my new thing, it does. Yeah, so I've talked previously about the nighttime routine that I started. Still going strong with it, love it. But what I added to it was pajamas. So I am now like a pajama crazy woman. Like I have bought so many pairs of pajamas in the last month and a half. I literally have bought well over a pair a week for the last like 6 weeks, and I love it. I just love it's like an outfit for yourself. You know what I mean? Like in the top of the day, you get dressed and you put on like a cute outfit to go out for the world to show off. But like your pajamas, like I have silk sets, I got like plaid sets, I got a wool set, I got like you can just buy all these different pajama sets to fit your mood, to fit the vibe for the night. Like absolutely love it. 10 out of 10 recommend. If you don't own pajamas, like get you some pajama sets. Like coming from somebody that's like huge and like I was sleeping like a big t-shirt and like my panties and that's it. Now I'm a pajama lover. I can't do long like pants or long sleeve shirts. But I have so many like tank top and robes. Oh my goodness, I love the 3-piece sets that come with like the tank top, the shorts, and the robe. So Yes.
It just makes you feel like uber feminine. It makes you feel well put together even when you sleep, which is super important for your femininity journey.
Bedtime fragrance. Did I tell?
You didn't tell us about your bedtime
I
fragrance.
bought a couple of different bedtime fragrances, just depending on my pajama mood. So when I have on like silk pajamas, like pink bright colors, because I have a cream set, a silk set, like a cream silk set and a pink silk set. And so I have Prada Candy for those because it just, yeah. And then I got a Burberry fragrance, Body? I think it's Burberry Body. I want to say it's called Body. Okay. And I use both of those interchangeably, just like for nighttime fragrances. And so get you like a nighttime fragrance that lightly sits on your, whatever smell you want to be in your sheets, like, oh my goodness. So anyway, I'm not gonna keep on ranting about all these catching ups, but those are my luxury purchases.
No, honey, that's
treats
good.
Of the last few weeks.
That is so good. It makes me really want, like, for us to for sure have an episode like dedicated to fragrances and like really like unpacking the nuances of it. But I think that a bedtime routine, like that's, you know, our nighttime routine with your fragrances or having a bed fragrance or nighttime fragrance, like that's genius. You know?
Absolutely love it.
I love that. To come, guys.
Soon come.
I know, a lot of catching up to do.
So, what's been your treat of the week? You had a lot of them lately.
I know. Literally, Wiz says that because if you guys didn't know, my birthday was November the 19th, and I turned the big 30, you guys.
Baby.
I turned 30, honey.
And if you haven't seen these birthday photo shoot pics, at Queen Thinker Hustler, and go look at the pictures, double tap them, and show some love in the comments because she look good.
Oh, thanks, sis.
Period.
Thanks, sis. Yes, and so literally it was so much going on with that, so I'll just hit the highlights. I'll hit the highlights. The highlight of that was literally, so I did, like we said, a photo shoot for myself. I just did 2 looks, and everything that I use, every artist that I use, they were all Black owned. So note. And literally with the exception of one, they were Black, you know, female owned or women owned businesses. So I really love that for us too. But yes, I did a photo shoot. I got my hair done, nails done, my makeup done, which I've never got my makeup done professionally before. So I got the opportunity to do that. So literally pampered myself with the photo shoot. It was an amazing experience. 10 out of 10, highly recommend. It did wonders for my confidence in that moment, but just even moving forward. I definitely think it's an experience that is not only luxurious, but it's a confidence builder as well, because you get used to seeing yourself in a light that you would normally see yourself. So like what I did and I recommend is, you know, one like sexy glam aspect, you know, and then another one that's just very like soft and feminine and, you know, warm and pretty. So did that, and then also we had we did the 30 Shades of Brown Sugar, which when I tell you guys, Wit was like MVP, okay? It was MVP.
If y'all have friends that don't help you set up on your birthday, just come out. I was not MVP for helping you set up on your birthday. What was she supposed to be running around in the heels in her dress, getting ready, putting chicken wing plates together? Like,
so true. But major shout out to Wit, which I told Wit, and it was a handful of people that were just like uber, like a lot of them were MVPs, you know. But I definitely had to shout Wit out and like be like, yo, sis, you were a lifesaver. So yeah, that was my first time ever putting together an event, and it was for my birthday. And I had all my closest friends in Texas join me just for a night of it was a luxurious girls night. So 30 Shades of Brown Sugar Luxe Girls Night. So putting that together, experiencing it was amazing. So that was more of my treat. It was like basically my birthday gifts to myself. But a part of that was spending it with people that I love and care about. So yeah. Fun. That was my treat of the week in my short answer. But yeah, it was amazing. But literally just pampered myself and created a luxurious experience for myself and those that I care about on a special day.
And it was beautiful. It was like so pretty. Like I think you posted pictures. So check out the pictures. Like the food, she did all of the food herself. Like was frying chicken, making seafood dip, like wine, mimosa bar. Like it was the most it was like a great girls' night. You did the balloon release.
Oh yes, that was so cute. Shout out to my moms. Like my mom was actually like, "Oh my God, you know what would be so cute? You should release 30 balloons. You're turning 30. You should release 30 of your balloons that night, like at the end, right off of the sky deck, because we were in a sky lounge in my apartment complex. But that was her idea.
That was crazy. Yeah. Oh, and then then the balloons weren't helium. So shout out to Tasha and Asia. Yes, for going to Party City at the midnight hour.
Literally missing like an hour of the beginning of the event, and they're there from the jump. It was you, Kelly, Asia, and Tajay. They were there from the beginning and like helping with setup. Yeah. But I mean, not that other people didn't play a role. Like I appreciate everyone. But of course, just special shout out to those who did help me set up. I really appreciated it. But it was great, y'all. I'm still on cloud nine. I can't believe it.
You know what? It sounds great, and it sounds far from average.
Honey,
it sounds far from average.
This is not the Luxe Hour podcast. Okay, this is Luxe Hour podcast for a reason. Okay?
Hello.
We're all on our journey.
Period. This is the Luxe Hour, not the lunch break.
Okay. Period.
So speaking of which, we are getting into what is it to be an average man. We want to talk about, do average men not get enough credit? Are they not appreciated enough? Like, where does this? Because men express that, right? Like men kind of express that. Women don't just want an average man, or just you have to be rich for women to want to work, just whatever the case may be, right? So we want to get into it. We just want to unpack, what does it mean to be average?
And are they overlooked?
Are they overlooked, right? Is there something that women overlook? Like, what makes a man average? We just gonna get into it.
Let's dive into it.
Okay, so we got a couple of questions because we wanted to make sure this conversation was like targeted and steered. So.
Yes.
The first question, what is an average man? So like, how would you define average in terms of men?
For myself, and I'm not even going to say for myself, I think that as a whole, I think that most women, specifically Black women, I think that the general definition of an average man is a man who's under 6 foot, a man who is making about 50 grand or less, because Wit looked up the stat. And
yes,
please share the statistic.
Okay,
yeah.
So hold on, let me make y'all know that sound be trying to play. Okay, it's still recording.
Yeah.
So we are going to take a look at the median annual earnings. So this is 2019. This is the most recent data set that they have on the United States Department of Labor. This is the peak resource for earning statistics. So whatever's here, this is what the Department of Labor is telling us, okay? So the bottom of the pyramid, let's see. Oh no, it reset my thing. Hold on. All right, so this is going to give us the median income for white men, Black men, Asian men, Hispanic men, and white non-Hispanic men. So anybody who is classified as white on their driver's license, but they're not Hispanic and they're probably not actually white. So it just doesn't fit into that bucket. So coming in at the bottom, $41,519 is the median Hispanic man's annual earnings. $41,519. Right after Hispanic men, second from the bottom is going to be Black men. In 2019, their median annual earning was $45,644. $45,644. Coming up next is going to be white men. So they are coming in 2019 at $60,000. So already $15,000 over Black men. There's a large gap on the chart. It's like Hispanic men, Black men, gap, white men. So it goes to white men there.
And you guessed it at the top.
You guessed it. Right after that is white non-Hispanic. So this could be sometimes Asian Indians fall into this category. Sometimes Pacific Islanders fall into this category. They are coming in at $65,208 per year. That's $65,208 per year. And at the top of the men's annual earnings food chain is Asian men
of course.
at $75,671 per year. That's $75,671 per year. So altogether, between Black men and Asian men, it's going to be right about a $30,000 difference. Black men are not the bottom, Hispanic men are the bottom, and then between Hispanic men and Asian men, so between the very top and the very bottom, it's going to be right at about $34,000 difference.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So just to give some context of why we're saying, under $50,000, and I don't think that many people probably know that statistic or care to look it up, but I think that we kind of have a general understanding, or we have a good hypothesis of where we believe it to be. Okay. So with that, it's median income. Mm-hmm. So under about $50,000. So like I said, going back just to recap, height, so under 6 foot for sure. And then also under about 50 grand. Mm-hmm. I would also say, not attractive. So like, just okay. Not easy on the eyes, not attractive. Mm-hmm. And then what was the last piece? Goodness gracious. I was just talking about it. And then also in terms of like social status. So again, those that are not very popular or that are not famous or that are not sought after. So those who just are not in position of power or fame. So again, they're not your rappers, your entertainers, your party promoters, your club promoters, your high profile business owners or entrepreneurs.
Gotcha.
Is that nature? That's what I would say that I see.
As average.
Okay. Or what women think as average.
Yeah, I think a lot of women would definitely agree with that, Liz. I would say, of course, you have to kind of start off with the peak responsibility of a man. So if the peak responsibility of a man is to cover, then you have to go into the finances. So average, an average earner, like you said, I would put it at that 50K mark. Only because when you consider the cost of living in most cities in America, 50K is enough for you to live comfortably by yourself.
Correct.
I don't know how providing for more than one mouth from 50,000 would be, but I know that a significant number of people do it. So it can be done, but in terms of average, when it comes to men, I'm going to use the 50,000 mark as well. For me, the very next thing that makes a man average is his mindset. Men who, right off the bat, men who have any problem with being a man, like that kind of knocks you right down into an average man. That means men who have issues with the responsibilities that come with being a man, right? So leadership, covering, protection, things like that. But then also just your sheer ability to add to a conversation, right? Like, are you the man in the room who meaningfully can contribute to a conversation, to a business plan, to a strategic meeting, or are you just like the man in the room, like just running his mouth or
just loud and
yeah, you know what I mean?
That doesn't have any true value.
Yeah. So for me, the very next thing that makes a man average or not is his mind. Right after mind is kids. So I think, especially with Black men, if you have kids and you're not married, in my book, that automatically push you into the average bucket. And then, of course, you have to take appearance into effect. That kind of goes into when you're talking through men and women, right? So men who are, I know height plays a big deal for women. For me, not 6 feet, I know is like a woman's standard.
Women,
but I think you fall into like
under 5'9" for sure. That's the average height.
Yeah, so under 5'9", that's when women start to be like, he's short. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like women want a guy that's like, oh, super tall. Like most of us don't call, like we don't think like, oh, he's short unless you're like eye level with them or like 5'9". but you're tall, like you're like 5'3", but you always have on heels.
Always have on heels.
High heels.
Yeah. So to be fair, that is a good call out, and maybe that's a little bit of me talking because I really don't date men under 6 foot.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I have.
Mm-hmm.
But I do get what you're saying. But and for me, even though I am 5'3", you always catch me in a pair of like 4.5, 6-inch heels.
Yeah.
So I guess I kind of am. I do have a lens of like a woman who's 5'8", 5'9".
Mm-hmm.
In that regard.
And I'm every bit of 5'1", but I stay in a 3-inch chunky heel. Okay, 3-inch chunky heels. I love me a strap. I love me something cute. So anyway, it's that at best I'll hit 5'5", and I don't think I do that. So. Okay, so that's how we would define average.
Correct.
I think that covers it. I think most women would say that their definition of average falls somewhere in
relatively in that space.
So then the next question that we wanted to talk through was for men. So we just went through our list, right? And money was at the top of both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Is a man solely defined as average based off of things like his height, or his social status, or his money? Like, is it truly just money and looks for men?
And we and Whit pride ourselves on this. We pride ourselves on being real. We could give you the political answer, and we could tell you what we would love for things to be in a fantasy world, or we can say, hey, realistically, the Luxe Hour Podcast is just going to call it a spade. And a spade being called a spade, yes, you are average based upon those two main things. How much you are worth, your financial status, but also, how attractive you are.
Yeah. So what would be the two for women then?
The two for women for sure are her attractiveness, so how attractive she is, and it would be her body. I think both of them
go together.
I don't think they go together. I don't think they, because you can have a great body,
but do
not
men
attractive.
find you attractive if you don't have a great body? I would argue
that's
that
what I'm saying too.
don't.
Fitness.
You think for men? You think the body is separate from? I don't think men. I think men might, because women have this thing where we say she's pretty, like she has a pretty face, right? As women, we acknowledge like they have a pretty face, but this and that. Like men, from my experience, it seems to all be like she's attractive if she's pretty in the face and if her body's together. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
I mean, and I get that, but I would just say from what I've seen, what I've heard from men, I believe that there are two different things. Like they want a pretty woman, because you can be a pretty woman and not necessarily be physically fit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or you can be physically fit and not be a pretty woman.
So then
but physical attractiveness, I think that's the number one thing on men's list.
So do you think men, if a man looks at a woman and he's like, she has a beautiful face, but her body is shot, do you think he's like, she's attractive to me?
I wouldn't say that one way or the other. You would have, but that's what I'm saying. But you have to have. I get where you're coming from.
So
with
then,
that,
what would be the third one? Yeah,
the third one, I would say after that is sheer femininity.
Okay.
Like I believe it's just sheer femininity. So it's your essence, your aura, the way that you carry yourself. Essentially, are you feminine? So everything that femininity embodies. But I do think that they are two separate things as far as the attractiveness. I believe they're looking for attractiveness in your in your face. Again, they want to know that you're pretty, but also fitness is very important to men. But I believe those two things are just so far above the next, and that's why I break them down into two, because I hear men say all the time, man, she's real cute, but her body, or man, her body is this, but
okay.
So that's why I break it up into two.
No, that's interesting.
But that's what I think. I think that's what men care about is, is she pretty? Does she have is she fit? Or does she have a nice body? And then I think next, like deep down, then they get into, her, essentially her femininity, her aura, her essence.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Okay, so that makes sense. So when I hear that, right, I think that there are so many people, women who would say, so if I'm not fit and I'm not pretty, I hold no value, right? And then you have men who say, so if I'm not rich and I'm not tall, I hold no value, right? And there's all these other traits that people can bring to the table, right? Like men can be resourceful, they can be handy, right? They can be crafty, they can fix anything around the house, they can be great fathers, they can be incredibly loving, incredibly nurturing, they can be smart, they can be wise, they can be creative, right? They can be artistic. They have all these other traits that they bring to the table. And then women are the same way, right? Women can be career driven, they can be high earners, they can be kind to their neighbor, right? They can be creative, like I said, with men. Like, they have all these other traits. And yet and still, it's almost like a stigma to be average, right? Nobody wants to be average, right? Mm-hmm. So my question is, what's wrong with being average?
And you know, it's very interesting. I was recently listening to the Roommates podcast, and they had an episode talking about Sierra's prayer. Okay, so
Lord.
In reference to this prayer, and they broke it down, and they actually had a very non-biased perspective. So, so it was great. But what I will say is that he brought up an interesting point, which I agree with. Women, we are fed the Cinderella story from Disney and all of these romance novels and movies, and we're constantly being fed romance. You deserve the world. Even if you were Cinderella, you deserve Prince Charming, you know. And so we're just taught that no matter what, you are a prince, you know, a princess, and your prince is going to come find you, and he's going to be handsome, he's going to be attractive, he's going to have money, and he's going to come rescue you. And I think that men on the other end are taught that you deserve the baddest thing walking, and a lot of them are being taught that from hip-hop culture, you know, and not even just that, but society, Instagram, but mainly hip-hop culture. So I think it's just what we have been fed. Everyone has been fed to believe that you deserve the best. We're being messaged that, but no one is messaging, but you deserve the best when you're becoming the best version of yourself. So I think that that's the disconnect, and I think that that's the problem. Everyone is, you know, told and fed that you deserve the world, you deserve the best there out, you know, the best there is out there.
So how does that feed this notion that Black men especially run into, where they may date one type of woman or one level
per type
of woman earlier in their life or in their career and things like that, and then as they move up, right, as they kind of move up into a different income bracket, or they move up into a different appearance bracket or social bracket, right, they want to leave behind the wife of their youth, right? Now they want that exact thing, right? So how does how does men's Cinderella story? Because to me, what I find is that I often notice that men will date at one level and be resentful of the level that they're dating on.
So true.
Yeah, and they will find a woman who, in essence, builds them up, right? And then as soon as they get just close enough, they want the Cinderella that they were promised, right? They don't want, I don't even want to use the term a stepsister, but they don't want the woman who was there, right? And is that healthy? Do women have their own version of that? Like, does it, like, you know what I mean? Like,
I get that. I get exactly what you're saying, and I think that is the equivalent. That is men's Cinderella story. Is that when you're on a certain level, you are entitled to this type of woman, but typically they resent the level they're actually on, and they believe that they should get better. So their Cinderella story is that, well, the level that I'm actually on, I don't want to be there, you know, because I'm supposed to, the goal is to get better and better, and to be more attractive, to be more fit, to be more sought after, to, you know, to be more of the prototype of what the world or social media tells me that I should date. So they're always striving to get better. But I think that is their Cinderella.
Yeah, and I think that sometimes they strive to get better. Sometimes men don't strive to be any better, and they stay on that level. And not only are they resentful, but they try to live life through false channels as if they were on that level, right? So they begin to cheat with, like, not even really cheat. it depends on how you define cheating.
Yeah.
But they begin to like be sliding in the DMs on Instagram of girls that they wish they could
No,
have,
they
right?
can't.
So they have a girlfriend, they have a woman that's there, but it's like some part of them is still like, but can I get her? But like, can I like? I would be willing to leave this one behind if I could get her.
And you said it, and I'm sorry, I think I said it wrong. I wasn't meaning that they're striving to be better. The problem is they're not striving to be better. They're on their level, but they're striving to get better, that woman on that next level, like you were saying.
Yeah.
And I see that happen so many times, and I can attest to it, and I'm sure so many other women can attest to it, to where your DMs oftentimes are more filled with guys who have girlfriends. But if we're all being fair and if we're looking at it, then if you would go and look at that man's girlfriend, she is actually his quote unquote equivalent. She's on his level. But you'll notice that those type of guys, to your point, they slide in the DM of women that are on that next level that they strive to get on. They're always kind of trying, like, I know I'm not supposed to have you, but can I get you? Because to your point, like you said, I'll leave all this behind. And I think the cheating, to your definition, I think that is an ego booster, right? And it does. It feeds that false sense of reality, but it also like encourages them, even though you're not where you want to be, you know, you're doing something, because at least now I have multiple women on my level. You know?
Yeah.
I think that they do that too, from what I've seen.
So with that in mind, why don't women want to date average men? With that in mind, I guess a better question would be, what has been your experience dating? Have you ever dated an average man? I mean, I think we all have, but
no, Whitney.
Listen, I'm just asking for the people.
She's asking for the people. She's not trying to tell my story, but I'm looking at Whit like, now Whit. No, you know what? I won't do that. I won't say that. I won't because God is Christ is watching. But I will say that out of the guys that I have dated that I would say are truly average, that I've seriously dated, it's been one. I would say that was average or below average. And I would say the reason why you're reluctant to date the average man is because as a woman, it does not make you feel good to know that you have to play father and girlfriend and mother to a man. You do not have any respect for that man. When that man is average, meaning that he does not have the financial resources to provide for a family, in most cases he can somewhat even provide for himself. If he has a child, my God, he can barely provide for that child. So as a woman, now I'm worrying, and I'm not able to operate in my feminine power. Now I'm worrying about how to provide for this family, or how this family is going to be provided for as a unit, how we're going to be able to afford a certain lifestyle. Will I be able to continue to live the lifestyle that I'm accustomed to living? You know, because now this man is not providing me with stability. So we don't want to date average men, I think, because you don't want to have to operate in a masculine space if you're a feminine woman. And that's a very masculine space to be in, is to try to figure out how you are going to help that man provide for himself or his children and your family. And I would say from personal experience, that is why. And I know, and also another piece too, because I don't want to be too long-winded, another piece for me is typically your average men, they are very resentful. And I would say not all the time, but oftentimes they are slightly angry. And, you know, and they go hand in hand. They're resentful at the fact that they're not where they want to be. And now they're angry at their situation because they wish they could have more. And guess who they take it out on? The person that they are with. The one who's in their corner. The one who's holding them down. The one who's riding, but literally driving the car. That's who gets the butt of their anger, their bitterness, their resentment. No. So that is why, for me, I can say that from experience. And that one experience, I learned all that. And from vicarious experiences, I've learned all of that.
Yeah. No, I would agree. There is, for sure, a level of bitterness in those men. One thing that I was thinking as you were talking though is that I almost want to say that there's a group that is the majority, perhaps.
Okay.
Hear me out.
I'm listening.
That we may be neglecting. So when you say the average income for a black man, 50, like below 50,000 puts you at like average, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't that make the group of men in question that we're talking about below average, right? Because then what about the men who are single, no kids,
It's true.
good job, 75, 80K a year? You know what I mean? Like, these are men who are more than capable of providing for a woman, more than capable of leading depending on his mentality and his upbringing and his values as a man, right? More than capable of providing a stable life at our age, right? If he's making 75, 80K in his 20s to early 30s, he's on track to continue moving upward in income, right?
Correct.
So you can kind of think that he'll scale upwards, right?
If you're looking at that 3%.
Yeah, so maybe the group that we're talking about is actually below average. So maybe we reframe.
Some of the average men fit into there too. If you're looking at right at that 50K. It's what you said. I think it's subsetted because those are your average men who have a complex about being average and who are entitled to the lifestyle and the woman that comes with being on the next level, but they're not putting in the work. Yeah. So good call out.
Yeah. And I mean, there has to take into account that there's like a lot of people who don't want, they have no interest in the high life, right? They have no interest in like picking up the prettiest girl at the club in a Ferrari. Like, there's a lot of men that just don't, that they just want to meet a good woman who reminds them of mama or grandmama. You know what I mean? Who they can raise a family with, who can take care of the house, and you know, he might be an engineer or a lawyer. You know, just something where he makes a stable living. So I'm basically saying that I think that there might be this group of men that women neglect to talk about, and maybe those are the groups of men that are beginning to get more vocal with their bitterness, because they're kind of like, listen, it's a group of us in the middle. We might not be, you know what I mean, like the millionaire football player, but we also aren't the $35,000 a year line worker. Not that there's anything wrong with the line worker.
They're not necessarily at six figures.
Exactly. They're like 75, 80K. They work in corporate, right? You think, I'm perfectly capable of, and there's women, I personally, as a woman, fall into that's my ideal man, because my experience with men who society would consider high value have historically been horrible as partners. And I mean, that's just me. So my target audience is like that 75 to 100K, right? Like, man who has a plan, man who wants to build, man who wants to grow, man who's looking for a partner, but man who wants to lead. Like, that is like my target audience. And I think any woman who says she doesn't want to date a millionaire would be lying. But that's not, like, I don't go to specific clubs looking to attract like high value men. And I feel like, again, there's nothing wrong with either side, but there's women on both sides too. You know, like, there's women who are like, listen, we don't have to be in Barbados every month. We can, like,
it's okay.
You know,
we can go to San Diego.
I just wonder if that's a still point too.
That is a great point to highlight. And I do think that's the space that we were more so thinking on track with, is what about and I think when we talk about the average guys, when we're putting not even necessarily money aside, but when we're talking in terms of the good guy.
Right.
Just in general, the good guy. So again, the guys who are in corporate, or he might be, you know, some type of engineer. He's not quite making six figures, but it's just, you know, he's a good guy. Meaning that he's not the most popular guy. He's not, you know, swag out, dripped out. You know, he's not the ladies' man. He's not super attractive. He might be socially awkward, or maybe he's not the life of the party or the most interesting. He's not Future. He's Russell Wilson. So when we think in terms of character, as far as the average guy or the good guy, I think the good guy is in that category with the average man. He gets thrown in there no matter how much money he makes or no matter how stable he is, simply because he's not as entertaining or he doesn't have the same social status. And in today's society, especially with Instagram and different social media, that's a big one for a lot of women. They're like, oh, but he's lame. How many times have you heard that?
A lot.
He's lame.
But people say that about me. I got 3 pictures on my Instagram, and I took them 3 down. So looking for my lame main, but no,
really,
for real, no. But that is real. Like, no, that is a true factor for women. Does he have some level of social clout?
Yeah, absolutely. Said,
especially if she herself is social. You know what I mean? Like, if she herself is, I won't even say if she's social, but if she falls into like a socialite,
absolutely. Yeah. And the sad thing is that social clout is weighted heavier than social capital, and that's the sad part. Because they're not necessarily. These guys are very resourceful. Like, they know other guys, and again, that's a component of a high value man, right? Is that you have access to other men who are in positions of power and who have resources. So, but the sad thing is, women don't care about that. They don't care about social capital. They care about social status. Oh, well, he's a DJ at the hottest club. He's a promoter. He knows this guy. He's cool with this NFL player, or he played overseas, he played professionally. We care about all this other stuff, all the fluff, essentially. I think that, but yes, that good guy gets thrown into the average guy bucket, and the average guy, yes, we are looking at him in terms of finance, for sure. But also that average guy, a lot of women throw the good guy in that category, regardless of the amount of money that he makes or the stability that he's able to provide. And I do see that is, to women's detriment. And I have seen, it's funny you bring that up, I have seen more men talk about that. What about the good guy? Yeah. Like, he's not as bright and shiny. He's not the gold packaging, but again, he's able to provide you with.
I would like to see those men date good women, right? Like, I want to know what is preventing, and maybe it's just sheer human nature, right? Because human nature in itself has an air of covetousness where it almost just pushes you to want what you see somebody else have, right? Yeah. But that aside, I would like to see good guys date good girls, because I can think of tons of women. I would argue that the large majority in our day and age of men and women, I won't say the large majority of our day and age, I'll say the large majority of the social circle that you and I run in. Yes. Right? The large majority of it is that good chunk in the middle, right? Like, I don't personally know any men that I'm intimately connected to that are millionaires. You know what I'm saying? Like, the men that I know who are married, who have settled down and gotten married, like, they do well for themselves. 6-figure earners, right? But maybe somewhere between 90 to 110. Okay? You know what I mean? Like, and I would like to see good men choose good women and stop pursuing
the bottom
women who don't have an interest in you. If you're listening to this and you're thinking, that's so frustrating because the woman that I want don't want a man like me, there's some level of internal perspective that needs to take place. Absolutely. Where you can take a look and say, why do I want that which doesn't want me?
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like, and what about it is appealing to me? And I think women need to do the same thing,
because it doesn't serve you.
It doesn't serve you. I think women need to ask themselves, and maybe it comes from women not actually having been around men. The types of men that they think they want to date. Correct. But women need to ask themselves, is that actually what I want? You know what I mean? Like, or do I just want a man who loves me like crazy, who comes home and who dedicates his life to making sure that me and our family are okay? You know what I mean? Like, what do I actually want? And I think that those people in the middle, because there's a reason that there's several, because I can think of women who are gorgeous, do well for themselves, can cook, clean, they maintain their own homes, they're friends, right? But they don't have huge behinds. They don't have they don't like keep their face beat all of the time, or they don't like to be out in clubs or on the social scene, or they don't wear designer brands, and or they don't care about Instagram, right? Like that makes, they're still good partners, right? But they would fall out of that bucket of average. And I would like to see those two groups date each other, you know? Like
it's very interesting, but what I think it raises a bigger question, and I would bet that a lot of these people that participate in dating these or pursuing people that don't actually want to date them, I bet you there's always a self-worth, a self-esteem issue at the very foundation.
At some point there was something in your life that you wanted and couldn't get, right? There was something that you wanted and were off limits to. It could be as small as all of the kids in school got invited to this birthday party except for me, right? Or like it could be something as small as I really like on Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins. He really liked that girl, the light skinned girl, and he didn't get her, right? And it's men especially. They have this complex where if there was a girl that they wanted or anything that they wanted and that they did not have access to or were restricted access from, they still want that down the line. And women have the same complex. Women, for girls, you mentioned the term popular, but I remember being in high school and that was like a thing. Like you wanted to be in the popular crowd and popular. Girls don't grow out of that. I look at women now who are 28, 29, 30, 31, 40 years old and they still want to be the popular girl, right? Like, and so if you didn't have that in high school, you want that now. And the older you get and the more work you put towards having it, the more adamant you are to like, no, I want the popular life. Like I want that life that I saw everybody else having in high school that I didn't have access to at that time. You know what I mean?
That's a major part of it. A major part. And I believe that that's how you get a lot of the good guys that, do well for themselves. They went to college. They've, gotten their degrees. They're making decent money. And now they want the type of girl that they always wanted in high school, but that bypassed them because they were nerdy. And it's the same thing with the woman. It's just, like you said, it's the same thing. But I think that we have to, again, you have to take inventory of your own thoughts, and you really have to police your thoughts. You have to take your thoughts captive and ask yourself why. You do. And you have to evaluate and you have to be real with yourself, because another great thing that they said on the roommates episode is, if you are going to date according to these, if you're going to date in whatever bucket that you choose to date in, I believe the buckets that they used were average, good, or top tier, or amazing, something like that. Whatever bucket that you decide to date in, you have to play by the rules of that bucket or the rules of that game.
And what I would like to see is for people in the good bucket, this is just my opinion. I would like to see people in the good bucket restrict access to people who have no interest in them. People who are men and women who are deeply loving, deeply caring, who want strong relationships, who say, okay, so the girl that I always wanted don't want me because she says I'm only worth how much my money is. Or a woman that says, I don't want a man who only wants me because of the way that I look. Right? I think because what happens is the people at the top, inevitably, if they don't find somebody within a short, because you only got a small window in that bucket before you start to trickle down. And then they trickle down, they start falling down, and now they want to date the average people. Because,
and then they spiral out.
Because they're tired of being the lifestyle that comes with what they're chasing. They're tired of not being valued, not being loved, not just having a warm home to go to, a safe arms to fall into. And then they go back, and then these men finally like, okay, I'll take you in now. I would like to see the average people close the damn doors. I'm sorry. I would like to see the people in the middle say, okay, if you only choose a person based off of their financial worth to you or their aesthetic appeal or their social capital, that's fine, because that's what y'all do in that area. But there are other people who have, and it's because I'm a simp.
There's different rules.
I genuinely care about love, and I just don't. To me, I don't care if I was 110 pounds. Like, genuinely, it's a slap in the face to know that you only want to be with me because of how I look. And if at any moment I don't look the way that I look now, you will no longer want to be with me. That's a slap in the face to me, and I can never wrap my mind around how you can accept that and then move forward. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, nigga, I don't want nothing to do with you. Like, that's like a friend that only wants you because you can get into the parties. But the minute you stop getting us in the parties, I don't want to be your friend anymore. What's the difference? Exactly. A woman that only wants you because of what you can pay for.
You are being used.
You're being used. Women
and no one wants to hear that.
Nobody wants to hear it. But one thing we need to do is say the truth. You're being used. And y'all can. I mean, people call it all type of stuff. You call it what you want. You call it what is it called? Hegemony, where they just
hypergamy.
Hypergamy. Yeah, you can call it whatever you want to, but you're being used. You're signing up for a contract to use and be used. Well, if he's going to use me for my body, I should at least get the financial. I should at least get the financial kickback that I want, right? I'm going to keep myself together because I want to be paid well, right? And he only gonna want me if I look well, and if I gain anyway, he gonna drop me, and vice versa. If I lose my job, she going to the next man. To me,
that's a sad reality.
I can't operate in a relationship like that, and I don't know if it's because of where I was raised. I don't know if it's because loyalty means so much to me, because genuine relationships mean so much to me. But the minute I feel like, I don't know.
A lot of it has to do with character. When you take it all away, because like, it's so many people, you were raised up in church, or you were raised up, to believe a certain way. But at the end of the day, it's about the character. Yeah. It's about that person. And here's the thing: we don't ask enough important questions. If we do ask questions, we're asking the wrong questions, or questions that don't truly hold any weight. Yeah. Because I would bet women like you, and we're very similar in a lot of ways, women like yourself, or like myself, who do genuinely care about love. I mean, literally, my wedding song will be "Don't Change" by Music Soul Child. If you have not, look up the lyrics, and that is why I chose that song. But those who genuinely care about love, I bet you it's going to boil down to their character, the things that they deem as their morals, the things that they deem as valuable, the things that are acceptable, that are unacceptable. So you need to ask questions. You need to get to know people beyond what they look like. I'm not saying it's wrong to not to want to be with someone who you find attractive. That's reasonable. But to what extent? I think we need to be, we talked on, not the last episode, that was episode 8, about realistic and unrealistic standards. We need to get realistic about our standards and about the things that really matter to us, which requires you healing, doing the work, and figuring out who you are. And only at that point can you determine what it is that you truly want. And then if you love yourself enough, you will care more about what you need and what you need versus what you desire, what you lust. Because one thing I will say is I've dated a broad spectrum of men. Not saying that I've just dated a ton of the guys who were wealthier anyway. They were not famous, first of all. They were definitely not famous, or they weren't entertainers or like athletes. Well, they were just, regular everyday guys. But from experience, what I would say is, to be fair, at the end of the day, the best experiences that I had was with someone who was my equivalent, who we shared the same morals and values with, and who had the same idea for what they wanted their life to look like. We had similar paths. Yeah. It didn't have anything to do with what they had, what they earned, or exactly what they looked like. It's, did we want the same things? Because the truth is, dating anything outside of your equivalent, right? And I'm not telling anybody to date up underneath what they should. Dating anything outside of your equivalent, whether above or below, requires you to perform. Yeah. Right? It requires you to perform in order for the relationship to be maintained. Correct. If you are striving to date a man who would not be checking for you in your natural state or your natural sense, and so you have to go completely out of your way to become a different woman for this man, you have to continue that performance forever. Every day. You know what I'm saying? And vice versa. If you go beneath what you should, and you settle, and you make concessions, and you say, well, hey, this is mine, I'm gonna stick beside him. You still are dying to yourself every day in a way that will get exhausting. The truth is, people need to date on the level that you are. And we say that as if it's a bad thing. I like the term buckets instead of levels, because levels implies a stack ranking, right? Levels implies
one is above the other. When I think it's really a circle of buckets. Right? Like, what are you looking for?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
correct.
Like, because
and what are you willing to do for it? What are you willing to do to maintain it?
Power couple, social clout, relationship goals, couple. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what that dating at the top tier, or that's what that is. You're dating for social clout, and you're dating for power couple, relationship goal type dynamics, right?
Exactly.
You got some people that's dating for. Some people enjoy a struggle love, and I'm not trying to make this.
No, they do.
Some people love the fact that me and my man both work hard around the clock. We got a life insurance business, a tax business, a credit business. We got a weed company, a lash company. He sell a little bit of weed on the side. I take the weed to make edibles.
He got the lawn care, right?
He got a lawn care company. I got a daycare that I run in the back of the house. You know what I'm saying? They like that struggle, ghetto love type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And then you have people in the middle who's like, no, I want somebody I can build with. You have some people who are looking for power couple dynamics who say, I want somebody that we can put our minds together and build an empire, right? Be a power couple. You have other people who date just solely because they just want somebody that's fun. They just want their friend.
Yeah, you know their best friend.
Yeah, and I think we need to consider it more so like the buckets of what you are looking for, right?
Exactly.
Because a man who's looking to have his social ego stroked will want a different woman than a man who's looking to build something, or than a man who's looking to raise a family and have a wife stay at home. Those are two different men. They might be in the same exact earnings bucket. They might both be excellent men with all of the same by all means traits across the board, but one is looking for somebody that he can build something with, like an empire type thing, and the other is looking for a woman who wants to stay at home and raise his kids because he wants to leave a legacy, right? And so I think we just need to look at things in terms of buckets, right? Like, what are you looking for? But instead we use levels, and it makes people feel like, well, I don't want to be on a lower level.
But that's the thing. No one wants to be below average, and no one wants to be average. Mm-hmm. Everyone wants to be top tier. Everyone wants to be higher status. That's the thing, because no one wants to be overlooked. We have an innate instinct as humans to want to belong. Mm-hmm. We do. We want to belong. Yeah. But we want to belong to the Pride Land. You know, everyone wants to be Mufasa. Nobody wants to be Scar. You know what I mean? Because I know y'all didn't say Lion King. So everyone wants to be Mufasa, not Scar. Yeah. And to be honest, that's fair, and I understand. But when you are a detriment to yourself, that is when it is problematic. And going back to something you said that was earlier, and it really hit home. The funny thing is, and I'll say overall, I won't say with everyone, but I will say with those type of guys that we want, right? The guys that are, well above 6 figures, over 6 foot, attractive, all of them. First of all, I've had great experiences with those type of guys. So I'm not, I've had my best experience with those type of guys overall. However, one thing that I will say, and I thought about this and I talked about this literally with my parents, and I was just like, I remember there was one guy in particular, and he was a millionaire. And I felt like every time I was with him, I had to perform. Yeah. I felt like I put on my best outfit. I beat my face every time. I would not let this man see me without my face being beat. I put on, a hat on the heels. I just felt like I had to be that trophy wife for him. And it was really because I understood the dynamic. Mm-hmm. I understood that even though he never said it, that's what he wanted. Right. He wanted a woman that he would be proud to have on his arm. So he wanted me at my best. And I understood that, okay, well, I have to perform in this capacity. And for him, he understood that, okay, well, if I want, it's just this unspoken dynamic of, okay, you're the provider, you're the money maker. I want you with the money, and I want you to always have, X amount of money. I want you to present this type of front. And okay, but at the same time, as a woman, you have to make sure that you're always at your best physically, and you need to be top tier. If you want me to have the money, okay, you need to bring the beauty. You need to bring your best. Yeah, which is fair. But it's exhausting. And I remember thinking about it, and I had a great time. Like, we were having a great time dating each other. But I just remember at one point, I went home and I was just like, I was tired.
Because it's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable. And I was like, you know what? This is great. This is fun. Like the nice dinners and the, impromptu trip or doing this and that. that stuff is fun, but this is a highlight reel. My life is not a highlight reel. I don't want it to be a highlight reel. Heck, none of this stuff I'm posting anyway because I never post my dates. But I was like, at that point, I was like, what am I doing this for? I don't want this every day. This is not fulfilling to me. This man, and that man barely asked me anything about myself. He didn't want to know me. He didn't care.
You are literally
he didn't care.
They tell you why you're there. You're there because I need something pretty, and if it ain't you, it can be whoever.
Somebody else. Whoever
is. I don't care. They genuinely don't care.
Genuinely did not care.
Yeah.
Genuinely did not care. He thought I was a cool person and all, but oh no, genuinely didn't care.
I dated one guy like that, and I said I would never do it again, and I haven't. I said this is not for me. I'm a Hallmark movie. I believe in love type of simp.
Christmas
it is embarrassing the amount of Christmas movies I have already watched. That you can always know the ending. That's what's comforting to me. You know they're gonna fall in love. You know they're gonna fall in love and then happy. I'll probably watch 3 Christmas movies a week at this point.
I love some Hallmark.
But I love the last guy that I liked. We used to like we would be running errands and like stop at Wendy's or something. He would like park and eat. I would get 6 nuggets. He would get, I'm not lying, a meal and a 4 for $4 and a large drink fry shake situation. And would have 6 nuggets. Maybe get fries. And he reached his hand into my bag, eating my nuggets. But I knew he was gonna do it, right? And to me, that was so much sweeter and it wasn't because it was Wendy's. That's not like a cliche, like, oh, just take me to a drive-through. But it's the
because that's not
it's the intimacy, right? The connection. Yeah. You want to be with somebody that you can just park the car somewhere and eat out of a paper. Not all the time, but the thing is that you can just run your day-to-day errands on a Saturday where you could throw on your leggings and a hoodie in the fall and go run errands, right? Like to me, I need both. Cause like you said, that's not my life. And I can't make it work that way. That's not my life. I like to be at home and I mean, I like to go out and I'm very much so like what you, especially in terms of like socially, I don't like social, I'm an introvert, like literally by nature. So I don't like always being on the scene, but because I'm so well connected, I'm always there, right? Like I always have somewhere to be, something to do. I can connect with anybody in the city. Everybody know me, but I'm on my business. You know what I'm saying? I'm not like on the social scene. I never post on Instagram, so I'm very much so that person that's like always there and never seen. Like, but I like my men like that. But that's because I like dating. I like dating.
You're equivalent.
And so that's why my advice to y'all is that you will be happy you're dating your equivalent. That's not to say that as women, and I know this is like the Luxe Hour, we encourage y'all to shoot for luxury. But it's luxury to you, right? It's not luxury to me to always be performing. One, because I make money on my own. Like, you know what I mean? And two, I just want a man where we can go to Cabo together and we can get whatever suite, whatever resort, whatever hotel room. But like, I don't know. I just like dating. I like dating my equivalent. And I just want to encourage anybody who prefers to date their equivalent, regardless of what your bucket is, that's okay. Like, that's okay.
I would encourage you. I would encourage you to do that. And I would also encourage you to be realistic with the buckets that you're dating in. Mm-hmm. Be realistic of what you can expect and what you can realistically obtain. Yeah. Is that within your bucket?
Yeah.
Is that even your bucket in the first place? Because I think that a lot of women are unhappy with that because literally you're shooting for the stars and, our feet are still in the ground, but, and I think that it's, but I think that we just need to be more realistic with ourselves. We need to be real with ourselves. And I know that we've been fed this Cinderella story, for the guys and the girls, but we need to start getting real with ourselves. And we need to start getting real with what we truly need. Mm-hmm. And we need to stop overlooking that for what looks pretty, what looks shiny and, sparkly.
And go out and get what's shiny. Go out and get what's sparkly and pretty. This is not even just to speak in terms of dating, right? Mm-hmm. This is in life, even in like our luxury journey. When I first started my luxury journey, I never ever have had any level of desire for like brand name stuff, like bags and shoes. Like I genuinely have never cared for it. But when I went into luxury, I was like, well, this is what you're supposed to have, right? Like, this is what I'm supposed to do. And I thought that that was what I wanted. But then when I would start spending my money on that, right, I only did it a few times before I was like, no, I genuinely don't care about this bag, but I will spend the same $800 on an air fryer grill combo, which I just bought, right? You know what I'm saying? And then to buy like a whole shelving section from the Container Store to completely redo my refrigerator and to put all of my pantry staples in the cute little plexiglass containers. And it's the same $900, but what you do is, what you do is you figure out what means something to you. And I dated men, like I tried it. I thought that that's what I wanted, and he was literally my least favorite. And that, again, that's not to say, because you said the exact opposite. You've had fantastic experiences, and there are hundreds, millions of women who date millionaire men and have amazing experiences.
I only had a couple million.
She ain't dating millions of men. I'm not saying
not a whole lot, but guys who are well over 6 figures. Yeah.
I did once, and I also. I mean, I don't know. I just say that to say, go get what it is that you think. You have to scratch the itch to know if that's what you really want.
But when you get in it,
but when you get in
it,
if you get in and say, even like my car, right? So like, perfect example. Y'all know, I just bought a Jeep, a huge like Jeep. It's like a big like luxury double panoramic sunroof, like leather trim seats, like a huge Jeep. But now I'm really thinking about trading it in. Like now I'm like, I kind of just want me a new Maxima. Like, I kind of just want me, like, a quiet, like, like a smaller, faster, because I like to
bend the corner.
Baby, wheel with it, right? You can't do that in no big ass Jeep. You know, I can't. So I'm like, well, and I'm like, well, do I want to take the money that I have spent on increasing my car note, right? Because I went from driving which I very much so loved, that Kia, it wasn't a Kia Optima. Yeah, and it was fully loaded, but it was, my car note was $289. I got the Jeep, my car note is like $500 now, right? Which is still a low car note considering what I drive, but I'm like, I can get a Maximum, take that $300 and move it back over to a more expensive place, right? Because maybe I want a townhouse downtown. Maybe I want to rent a house in Frisco, right? And so I'm reallocating from what I thought I wanted, and then you go get it. Just go get it. And then if you don't like it, or if it's not for you, like, change it up. It's only a learning journey. You know what I mean? Like, but vice versa. Some people exist on one level, and they know deep down that they want more, and they never go get it. You were that way. You finally went and go got it, and it was like, this is what I've been missing. Right? Like, this is what I want. I want to live on this level and date these men and have these types of friends. I don't want to have these types of friends. You know what I mean? Like, and you love it. So I say it to say, whatever bucket you feel like is calling you, go try that bucket. Like, do what you need to do to your point. Play the rules of that bucket. Dabble in there. See how you like it. You might feel like this is the home that I've been missing. But then you also might feel like, I kind of miss it down in that bucket with the catfish plates. I missed the bucket where I was riding around with my best friend, or whatever. Like, so
because literally, and like you said, back to those buckets. At the end of the day, I mean, the man in your dreams, could be in the average bucket. Yeah. But you're so caught up on, again, what you feel like you should get, or what you think you want, or what society is telling you to go get, that you're overlooking what you truly want deep down inside, because you're choosing to not do what Whitney is doing, which is saying, you know what, I tried it, I had it.
No, I don't date.
It doesn't work for me. No, she does not.
Let me.
We're not talking about Whitney in terms of dating.
I date on my level.
Correct.
Right? I'm not broke.
Correct.
I don't date broke men. I'm serious. I'm not ugly. I don't date ugly men. But I also love me like a big teddy bear type of dude. Like, like I also find men attractive that most women be like, I like men who look comfortable. I like, hometown type of guys. I like men who do well for themselves, like who have a plan, who have vision. I love a man who's a dreamer. You know what I'm saying? Who like wants to build something or go somewhere. Like, so I don't think that means you have to date low. I don't date men with kids, and I have standards for sure, but they not
That's just to say that, and I love that you went into more detail so that y'all can really understand what we're saying. What we're just saying is throw the Cinderella story away of thinking that your Prince Charming is gonna come and he's gonna be the 1%ers in the world in terms of finance, in terms of attractiveness. He's probably not. Your odds are heavily against it. Not saying that God can't do that for you, but it's just saying, in being realistic, it's probably the odds aren't on your side, but also at the same time, it's most likely not even what you want. Yeah. That's what we're saying. So it just doesn't have to be one way. That isn't, don't make that your end all, your be all. He has to just be that guy, because that guy could very well be in your equivalent bucket. He doesn't have to be top tier. Yeah. And guess what? It'll be top tier to you. To your lifestyle, to your needs, to your desires, to your values, to your morals, so to your world. And that's okay. Like, that's what I strive for. I don't strive for a millionaire husband. I strive for a man that is in my bucket, that is on the same path or a similar path. No one's gonna have the exact same path, but he's on a similar path, and we want the same thing.
Yeah, and top tier is subjective. Like, we use the term top tier, but it's not top tier to me to be in a marriage where there's no love.
Correct.
That's not top tier.
But we have a $10 million home.
But we got a $10 million. It's not top tier for me to be on a vacation or a vacation and y'all don't talk to each other. Y'all just on y'all phones the whole time. It's not top tier for me to ride around in a fast car, but like, you know that you ain't the only one that's in that car, or you picking up somebody else's hair off the seat, or you just playing your role because you know that he could replace you tomorrow.
I would not be in a Lambo for that.
That's not top tier to me. So understand that top tier is subjective, and you have to be secure enough within yourself as a woman to define top tier for you and what that is. And I mean, I think once you figure that out, you date with it. You need to become the equivalent of that. If you already are, kudos. If you're not, step it up and then get what you want. That's what I say.
And on that note, I have nothing else to add. That's just what it is.
So that's it. We got a good topic next week. Yeah. We're excited to get into it. It piggybacks off of this one.
It does.
So join back. So join us. Come back next week. And we're gonna get into a new topic.
Absolutely. Bye, guys.
Bye.